All right, welcome back to part two. We're going to talk about how to make animations and things pop up on the page as I click them, okay? So obviously we kind of went through and we made our navigational buttons work that take us through to each page. If you haven't gotten that far, you need to watch the previous tutorial. But now we need to actually start designing the pages. A lot of it's going to be up to you to come up with your own custom, background. I don't want it to just be a white blank screen. So something that is going to look nice, but not really busy to distract you and make it hard to read things on top. So you can play around with that. You can find some stuff that looks nice. And on each page, you're going to need to have some sort of, title, whether that's, the subtopic name, some kind of text. And that might not even be on the screen at the beginning, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But you're going to need to have animations on the screen so that I can click something and things appear. So we're going to do that right now. So for example, I'm going to go on the Burger King slide since I've already gotten a few pictures for this, for my example, and we're going to start designing this page. So for me, I'm going to delete that text box. I might, get this centered. I could maybe even, instead of, the default text, I could maybe do insert some word art instead. Maybe I do like Burger King. That in that font or something. Something like that might look a little bit nicer. All right, so here's what I would suggest. For my animation, I want to have it so that I've got some pictures of some food objects that I want to be able to click on and some text boxes appear. So for example, I have this. I already downloaded these, so I just went to Google and I typed in like chicken nuggets and a hamburger from Burger King. So I found a couple pictures. So I'm going to bring in my image of chicken finger or chicken tenders or whatever it's called. Now, what's somewhat nice about this is I found one image that already had like a pure background. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let me actually show you. If I go to the design of this page, maybe I set it to, I don't know, something that's format background. You have a lot of options in here, like format background for like a solid color or different images. You could even do a picture fill. I could insert my own picture. So like if I wanted to have some picture of French fries all over the place, I could do that as my background. Or I could put some other image I found on Google. For now, I'm just going to put like a gradient color just so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see what I was talking about with this chicken nugget. It already has like a white background. So these are pretty easy to remove that white blocky background from. So what I'm going to do, if you find a picture that's like, it's pretty good, but I don't want this extra chunkiness, right? I'm going to click my picture. Up at the top, make sure you're under picture format. You have a bunch of options for your pictures when you're selected on one. So for me, by the way, you could do some of these things. I think I mentioned this in the last video where you could like kind of put them into a shape, for example. But what I want to do is over here on the left, I want to do remove background. I've got these two little options. It says mark areas to keep and mark areas to remove. I'm going to put mark areas to keep as my option. And you can see over here, everything kind of turned purple. So I'm going to use my little pencil that it gives me, and I'm just going to kind of like draw a squiggle through the stuff I want to keep. You can kind of see there's a little bit of purple on the end of the nugget here. I'm going to just put my marker over that. Again, just kind of draw a line through it. And you're going to have to draw a little bit extra to make sure it's grabbing all of it. There's a little bit of the chicken nugget down here. So now this looks pretty good. All the purple stuff is going to be removed. Everything not purple will be kept. So once you have it looking pretty nice, I'm going to go up to the top left and say keep changes. And now you've just got this little chicken nugget picture without any background image. Okay. So once I've got that, let's say I want to be able to click on this chicken nugget and then I want text to appear or something to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and go to insert and I'm going to pick a text box. I'm just going to draw this out right here. And again, your subtopic is obviously unique to you. So I'm just kind of putting in some example stuff. Obviously you don't have to fill in what I'm doing, but just you can kind of get an idea. So maybe for me, I say chicken nuggets have 800 calories. I give it, I don't know, a rating of 2 out of 5 stars. Something like that, whatever. We'll come back to this in a minute. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add another example. Let's say I want to have a hamburger, kind of like I did for the chicken nuggets. Here's the problem. And I'll show you kind of 2 ways to do this. If I bring in this hamburger, obviously it's really big, I need to resize it, but there's a lot of extra stuff in the background. And it's a little bit hard to, like, let's see what happens if I do remove background. This might work, but I'll show you an easy way too. So you might be able to do a pretty good job with keeping areas to remove here, but you can kind of see like, man, this does a decent job, but like where the white of the napkin and the white of the wrapper kind of meet, it's hard to distinguish those colors. So you might have to like do mark area to remove, and you can kind of see it's a little bit glitchy. So if this doesn't work out quite the way you want, let me show you an alternative way to do this. It's a cool website I found. If you go to your Chrome or your internet browser and you go to remove.bg, this is a website, remove.bg. This is a website that will remove backgrounds from images pretty quickly and efficiently. So for example, if I have a background picture that has a lot of stuff in it, and I don't want to like take the time to either Photoshop it or like try to keep stuff myself, I can just upload it to this website. So I'm going to upload this picture. Here it is. And you can see it automatically just cut it out for me pretty well on its own. So I'm going to hit download. Now I've got that image right here downloaded back. So I can just drag this and then drop it right into my slide. So that remove background website is a really handy way if you've got a really busy background on a picture from Google to just quickly get rid of everything and kind of, keep it into like a little button, right? So similarly, I'm going to want another text box that says, again, whatever you want, information about your subtopic. I'm going to say hamburgers have 1,100 calories. I give it 4.5 out of 5, whatever, right? Your pages are going to look nicer and have more information, but this is just our example. All right, so what I want to do now is set up our animations, and in order to do that, there's a really important thing that we want to do first. So if you click on any of your images, so just click on anything you brought in, go up to the top where it says picture format, and I want you to go to the selection pane and open that up. Now, what this is, you can see it says like text box 23, picture 22, picture 17. A lot of these things were not named. So when I copied a bunch of stuff over, and honestly, you probably could name them ahead of time, and before you copy it, I kind of messed that up. So that might save you a little bit of renaming, but it's not the end of the world. You can just still rename everything. But as you click through, let's say I click picture 4, for example, I would have no idea if I'm setting animations on like what picture 4 even means. But if I click it, you can see it highlights my McDonald's button over here. So if I just double click over here where it says picture 4, I really suggest naming what it's going to be. So if I click the Burger King sign, you see, all right, it's picture 6. I would just name it whatever makes sense to you. So like you can see, as you click around, my text box 18, according to this, is actually, it's my chicken nugget text, basically. My text box about my chicken nugget facts or whatever it is in my case. So I would label my selection chicken nugget text. It doesn't matter exactly what you call it, but it should be something that makes sense to you, that when we return later and say like what button makes what thing appear, it makes sense of what's what. So for this, I have my burger text box labeled, but I'd want to name this burger button or something. And again, be careful, like I wouldn't want to name my Burger King button over here burger button, because I would have 2 burger buttons. So just take some time, think about what you want to call stuff. This will be my nugget button. I wish I had a nugget button in real life where you just push it and chicken nuggets would come out. This will be my title text box. Let's see, if you're ever not sure what is left, you just click picture 12. It shows me, all right, that's my home button up there. Label that home button. Picture 10 is my Dairy Queen button. Picture 8's Play button. Okay, so everything is now labeled. So what I want to have happen is I want my little chicken nugget text box to appear when I click the chicken nugget button. So we're going to click my text box right on the edge of it. I get this little option to select it, right? And then I want to add an animation to it. So up at the top, I'm going to do animation. You have a ton of options. All the green are animations. Yellow is an emphasis, meaning it's like a little effect it can do. The red are exits. We might talk about motion pads and some custom stuff later, but for now we'll just stick to the basics. So I want my text box to just, nothing fancy, just appear. A little bit of a fade in would be nice once I click the chicken nugget. So I'm going to say I want it to fade in. I'm going to click up here for the fade. You can see that I have a little fade effect going. Now, similar to how we open the selection pane with all of our selections over here, I want to click up here to the animation pane. Okay, this is where it gets a little tricky and a little tedious, but that's why we're giving you a couple of days at least to get this set up. So I want to trigger this animation on the click of another button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my animation, and then what I am going to recommend is you click up to the trigger button up here. So this fade in animation is going to go on the trigger, and we can have options. So on the click of, and this is why it was really important to label all of those things. I want the chicken nugget text box to trigger on the, let's see, the nugget button. Okay, this is why naming them something that makes sense is important. So now this is going to fade in on the click of that chicken nugget button. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing down here. I want this hamburger thing to fade in. Again, I want the burger text box to trigger on click of the burger button. Okay, so if I play my slideshow real quick and I go to my Burger King page, you'll see they start invisible. I have not triggered them to appear yet. If I click on my chicken nugget, you can see if I keep clicking on it, they keep coming up. If I click on my burger, that one comes up. Now, I am going to request that you make them go away. So if I click the chicken one, this one should go away. Vice versa, if I click the hamburger one, this goes away. However, that one will wait to the next tutorial. We're getting kind of long here. So I want to show you that, plus some other custom animations and motion paths for other images popping up for the final tutorial. So hopefully for this, you can get at least a couple things on each page, something like this, whether there's a couple different interactable things on there. We'll talk about some creative ways to do this eventually, but for right now, every page is going to need to have at least one or two things that I can click on and something will appear, whether that's a text box, whether that's another image, whether that's like a video that starts playing. Again, we'll talk about options later, but start thinking about how you're going to get every page designed and think about, again, hopefully back on your plan, what kinds of interactable objects you'll have on each page. So good luck.